World Beyond the Poles, Infinite Plane Beyond the Poles, continuation. This is part three. Definitely check out part one and two before you check this part out. Alright, so we're continuing in the book published in the late 1800s, World Beyond the Poles. And I was kind of done, then I kept it going. And it even got deeper. We had just mentioned, how these particular explorers, like Admiral Byrd, these were real admiral, major, highly decorated naval officers, generals, admirals. You know what I'm saying? So this is well documented stuff. People tend to kind of dismiss it, and it's hard to really wrap their heads around the Antarctic expeditions and all these stories, and they can't really, differentiate. So they kind of just, brush it off. But now we got not just Admiral Byrd, but his partner Wilkins. And here's just what happened to Wilkins. This is Wilkins' take on what happened. As brought out, by the author. So this is a real kind of, this information is so cold as we get to it because this is all documented. So it's not just about us trying to prove to you that water doesn't curve into a ball, or that we're not spinning and all that kind of stuff. Here is the stream of information that you're about to get. And you can get this book. It costs $170. Hopefully we can find some type of PDF link on it as well. All right. This is page, I think, 33. All right. So, let's just check this out right quick. In August 1927, because we already got this part in part two. So if you didn't get that part, I don't mind backing it up a little bit. They had application only to the artificial universe embraced by the Copernican formula. So they're talking about their particular gadgets and machinery, the framework. Had the Copernican system, the assumptive framework. Galileo had no consideration for then unknown natural law, which governs the realistic universe. So they weren't even considering natural law. They were just going on with the illusion that they had to sell with this Copernican thing. Because if you think about it, you want to control the people. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. All right. You want to control the people. Just think about it. Like, which model are you going to use? Are you going to let them know that they are in a boundless plane? Seemingly or theoretically, that we can't even get to the edge or the ends or anything. And the edge of this particular plane is an ice wall that surrounds us 200 feet high, and they call it the Arctic Circle. And you can look at the earlier maps. We're going to show you some earlier maps, all depicting that. You can look at the UN flag. It's a complete replica of the AE Azimuthal equidistant flat Earth projection, the AE projection, which is the most accurate map projection that we have right now. So you can look at the Gleason maps and stuff like that. So what they get, you're trying to control people. Just put yourself in someone else's shoes. You're trying to control people. Would you let them know that they are in a boundless plane? Or would you tell them that they are on an isolated body, isolated and spinning, to where even if you wanted to explore more land somewhere else, you couldn't? Because you're not an astronaut. You don't have the credentials, right? So you can't do that. So even if you want to explore the poles, North and South Pole, you can't. Because you don't got the credentials, right? So we can only take their word for it. And our ancestors didn't need their word for it. We have senses. We can feel that we're not spinning. We can see that everything is flat. The horizon always rises to our eye level. No matter how high we go on the highest mountain, the horizon will always rise to your eye level. That can only happen on a flat surface. If you're on a ball, the horizon is always going down, right? So it's not going to rise to your eye level, even if you go as high, no matter how high you go, the horizon on the flat surface will rise to your eye level. And that's what it does here in your habitat. So let's continue. All right. So in August, let's get there. August 20, 1927, the Cardinal was afforded a mental view of the polar extremities of a supposedly isolated globe Earth. Supposedly isolated globe Earth. Then, as the view was extended beyond the imaginary North Pole and South Pole points, he observed how the polar ice barriers diminished and they were replaced with mountain ranges, freshwater lakes, and abundant vegetation beyond the poles, past the ice, hundreds of miles, thousands of miles. Mountain ranges, freshwater lakes, abundant vegetation. That's exactly what Admiral Byrd said in a live TV interview. And you can look up Admiral Byrd, you know what I'm saying, more land, or they're hiding more land, or, you know what I'm saying, just look up Admiral Byrd interview, you know what I'm saying, it'll pop up. Even under the hollow earth type of thing, they try to disguise it in that, which actually jives in some way, because this flat plane does have a depth to it. So there can be, you know what I'm saying, sections of it underneath, and we know that there's an underneath. So there is definitely, you know what I'm saying, some play for some of that theory to play out. So let's see. And don't mind the chipmunk voice he's going to do, because, you know, he's just being corny. But that's, he's dropping the drop.
Intended to sustain such a premise of illusion. In other words,
if the globe doesn't fit, you must
acquit.
And this author here is saying just that. The globe does not fit. It was made up based on their observation at the time and their thoughts and
it's an illusion.
What they could see when they gazed up in the heavens, and their basic understanding and their inability to travel back in those days. As this author claims that basically.
This is called the Gleason map. It was done in the 1800s as well. It's one of the more accurate flat Earth, like I said, the AE or azimuthal equidistant, but it gives you, this actually goes back to a Persian cartographer way back, and they're really kind of copying this from this Persian particular cartographer. But yeah, this one's called the Gleason. You can check it out. You see the ice wall. If you go down, we'll see more of the ice wall down there.
There's a projection.
And then, you know, America, Africa. And this would be our North Pole. This is our South. Now, this latest drop is saying that this is not necessarily North Pole. This is really a Central Pole. And that there are two exits past the ice down. Interesting, you know, somehow they're both poles next to each other, kind of like, you know, I don't know how the heck that works, but in our traditional, you know what I'm saying, understanding of this particular drop, this will be North Pole, that will be South Pole. And this new one that I'm looking into with you, this will be the Central Pole, and there's two other poles. And that's where, you know, people might be thinking that they can escape out of. You know, they may think they can get out of here. They've been trying to shoot rockets up to the firmament, straight up. Research all those launches they did, trying to blast a hole, saying they're testing the ionosphere. They were just trying to blast a hole in the firmament. What do people do when they've been so harsh and horrible to the people, to the indigenous people? What do they do after they've tortured and mutilated the indigenous people? And they've been, you know, told and given these treaties with these fallen entities saying, it's okay, you'll be able to escape the Creator. We'll fake like there's some type of outer space and that you're just one ball on a bunch of balls and bigger balls and a bunch of balls, all this stuff. And you know what I'm saying, we'll act like we're exploring stuff and suck up all this money, but really, we're going to be trying to find a way out of this place. And there could be, you know, they say Hitler escaped to Antarctica and disappeared. That's what some theories say. So there might be some interest exit somewhere, either inner or outer, somewhere. But it's all past that point down there. Past the ice, past, you know what I'm saying, all that. So we're just looking into it, man. I mean, this is quite interesting, if I may agree.
You know, the Gleasons, what is...
Alright.
If you'll notice here...
Gleason map, new standard map of the world. And this is all in the library. Here's the patent. What does that say? 1892. locations made in England, Canada, France, Denmark, Sweden, Germany, and Austria. Do you think this is a game? You think these people is playing? Playing with your feelings? Is this what's put in your kindergarten classroom, or is it a ball? Did they inception you and plant a little ball in your head and say this is your world, you'll never get out of it? You're stuck in here. You'll be spinning for the rest of your life.
The Gleason's map
There's more.
was taken from J.S. Christopher's map. I don't know how many people realize that, but the Gleason's is a copy of this map here.
Ah,
J. Steer Christopher.
and he copied it from
The
somewhere else.
map of the world.
See that
very
Arctic?
low resolution is all I could find.
Arctic
but
Circle?
This
That's your
is
Antarctica.
what the Gleason's map.
Where's Antarctica here? There's no Antarctica, right? So this is Antarctica. Just like your UN flag. Time out.
I believe
Time out. Time out. Let's back it up. Oh, my bad. All right. Here we go.
this
Okay, look.
is what the Gleason's map.
Pause. Go. Open up a tab. Type in UN flag. And tell me what you see. Just pause it. Tell me I'm lying to you. Tell me my agenda here is fooling you to hide something. Ain't this already hidden? So what am I doing? Exposing something hidden to hide something? Who exposes something that's hidden from you to hide something? No, I'll be taking it away. I'll be saying, don't look into that. Don't read that book. So you gotta open your ears. You gotta, I don't care where your sources are coming from. You gotta at least be anchored. You know what I'm saying? You got some white folk that's gonna tell you the world is spinning. Some white folk they gonna tell you ain't spinning. One of the damn white boys is right. So open your eyes, anchor yourself, and say, okay, one's telling me this, one's telling me that. So the ones telling me this are the ones with the money. The ones with the money are telling me I'm spinning. The ones that are just at home making videos and linking all this information up, I might want to listen if it's opposite of what the other cat's telling. Let's pay attention, man. It's about to get real. UN flag. UN flag.
In our model here that this is the North Pole and this is the South Pole, this whole circle. However, the book is saying that I'm not sure what the book is saying. It was later
Okay.
heard by prominent representatives of
Stop. Read it. Pause it. Look, I'll read it with you. Little time was lost in an itinerary that subsequently took him to Los Angeles, where his treatise, they're talking about Wilkins, okay? Now, Wilkins is an explorer with Admiral Byrd. He was going to do his own independent expedition to Antarctica before you can actually get your money together, get your private investors, and do that. Now, it's all government operated, and you need permission by the government to do that. Before, independent people, you know what I'm saying, there was more on that founding fathers, but how can they found something that was already here? So, of course, we know they vacated the people from the land titles, and then they founded something on top of them, and they said, okay, we have rights, and those people that think they have rights raise money to have an expedition. And this is what happened to this Wilkins, because he got too close, so they had to bring him in. He got too close, so they had to bring him in. So let's read about it. This is documented. This is not me showing you water going into a ball. This is not me showing you water flat. You've seen water flat. You've only used your eyes. Observable science. What do your senses tell you? Little time was lost in an itinerary that subsequently took him to Los Angeles, where his treatise, his works, his expedition works, physical continuum, harshly invaded the University of Southern California, in the University of California, so USC and UCLA got invaded, meaning they got a powerful storm from his treatise, from his work. The same work that I'm presenting to you right now. The same opinion that I'm, and perspective and science that I'm presenting to you right now. From a scientist, from an explorer. His work invaded USC and UCLA. It was later heard by the prominent representatives of the Hearst organization. Now, these were the ones that was helping him fund his expedition. So they said, oh, snap. Okay, now we got to pull him in because they had to drop. He was getting too close. Everything had to come together. So it was later heard by prominent representatives after the USC UCLA. Then they bumped it up to the prominent people of the Hearst organization, who were then preparing for the historical Hearst-Wilkins Antarctic expedition of 1928. His unquenchable ardor was manifested in every quarter where his cause might be advanced. So, hey, he was raising up steam. His ardor was manifested in every quarter. I mean, his work had him on top. It baffled everybody. Just like it baffles you to hear it now, imagine how it did in the 1800s. Which means what? That they all assumed, this Copernican model. And he was trying to pull the wool out, or the wool was being pulled out mainly on him at this time because he's trying to explore it. And they already knew the truth, so they had to bring him in. His unquenchable ardor was manifest in every quarter where his cause might be advanced. He was heard in restricted academic circles, as well as in weekly lectures from Los Angeles radio station KFI. Look it up. See what he was talking about. If this was BS. This is documentation. He was invited. Where we at? He was invited to accompany Captain Sir George Hubert Wilkins and Alan Lockheed. Alright, so here we go. President of, you already know, Alan Lockheed. Alright. So excuse me, this is us now getting pulled into the circle, with Wilkins and Lockheed. So excuse me.
He was invited to accompany Captain Sir George Hubert Wilkins and Alan Lockheed.
Is that for play?
President of the Lockheed Corporation.
Okay, so I know you know the Lockheed Corporation.
The Breakfast Club in Burbank. The press presentation.
Whoa, back it up.
Contained the Pilgrim Company, Captain Sir George Hubert Wilkins and Alan Lockheed.
Okay.
President of the Lockheed Corporation.
All right. To a select meeting at the Breakfast Club in Burbank where his cause was heard. So everybody was hearing this perspective. Wherever it was considered that the work's interests might be served, he was to be found. It is understandable that a press dispatch of that time described him as a modern Columbus who seeks a Queen Isabella somewhere in America. Yo, I wasn't even trying to bring you no Columbus drop. But do you see how the Most High works? You see how this is all intertwined? When you come here, you're going to get the frequency. You're going to get off the McDonald's. You're going to get back on your frequency. You're going to reclaim your energy. You're going to understand you're indigenous. You're going to understand you were from the seeds of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And you will understand that you are not spinning. And these people got you in an illusion. Matrix style, even worse than the Matrix. Modern day Columbus. So hey, somebody fund this exploration. Let's see who we got to kill to get more resources. Though a queen might have possessed the means to equip a fitting expedition for land discovery beyond the poles, or for land discovery beyond the poles. So this is not, when I say there's more land, this is just, look how they just said it. They didn't even have to break it down to you. Fitting expedition, land discovery beyond the poles. So this is not an illusion. You're living an illusion. Or to provide funds for the required stratosphere accents. No Queen, Duchess, let's go for it.
To a select meeting at the Breakfast Club in Burbank. The press presentation.
All right. Pay attention.
Contained the Pilgrim's photograph with that of the Australian explorer, Captain Sir George Hubert Wilkins. The feature dealt with Sir Hubert's then forthcoming Antarctic
it is considered imperative that some known explorer of polar areas, somebody be convinced. Somebody needs to know. So they brought the real explorer in that's going to do this, and they had to make sure that they are convinced and understand the reality, not the illusion that you're living in with the ball of water spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, hurling through space at 67,000 miles per hour in a Milky Way galaxy going 2.5 million miles per hour. Okay? That's an illusion. The sun being gigantic and we have to somehow catch up to the sun, even though the sun's going faster than us, according to NASA. But we catch up to it, we do a circle around it, and that huge mass, somehow we're able to come back around again. With all that mass of the sun, we don't get sucked in, even though it's traveling over 100,000 miles per hour. This gigantic thing is traveling. Everything's going. Everything's moving. Nothing, you know what I'm saying? Nah. It's the opposite. These people always give you the opposite of reality. If they say you're moving, you're not. If they say you're spinning, you're not. If they say you're round, you're flat. If they say you're black, you're white. You have to flip everything. That is the key. All right? At least start with that. At least start with that assumption. And you'll be way closer, 95% closer.
That end, he determined to present the subject to Captain Sir George Hubert Wilkins, who at that time, in September of 1928, was about to embark upon the Antarctic expedition sponsored by the Hearst newspaper.
So they were the money.
Interest.
That was
Chapter
the money.
4, disclosing the southern land corridor into the heavens above.
Whoa. What? Come on, y'all. We can't just brush over this. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about being the people and all this stuff.
Was about to embark
Look what this
upon
says.
the
Look how this
Antarctic
correlates with everything we're
expedition
learning.
Sponsored by the Hearst newspaper. Interest. Chapter 4.
Whoa. This is a chapter in their documentation in a book that costs $170 that you don't know about. Disclosing the southern land corridor, or the connection, which is beyond the pole, into the heavens above. We just dropped in part 2 that they're saying you go further north or south, you run right into the celestial. It actually goes, there's parts beyond the poles, land beyond the poles, and eventually you can run right into the heavens. You don't even got to go up to get to heaven. You can actually go straight, because the ends of the earth connect to the celestial plane. So when they go, you know what I'm saying, across the ice, they're trying to connect to the celestial plane, but most likely they're just getting into the lower levels. They're connecting to Saturn and Jupiter and those energies. That's why they worship them. They can't get to the throne. They can't get past the firmament, right? So they think they have a way out by getting out through the celestial plane. But we'll see how these deities actually treat them when it's all said and done. Okay, so here we go.
Disclosing the southern land corridor into the heavens above.
Stay with me, stay with me.
The Pilgrim of 1928 accompanied Captain Sir George Hubert Wilkins to a
Los
meeting
Angeles
of the
Breakfast
Los Angeles Breakfast Club,
Uh-huh.
where Sir Hubert was
Guest of honor at the breakfast. This is major,
The
man.
famous Australian explorer at his quarters in Hollywood's Hotel Roosevelt,
Whoa.
where the salient features of physical continuity were illustrated with a miniature globe symbol that permitted the quadrants of the globe to be detached.
Come on, man.
Needless to relate, greatest stress was laid on the feature of terrestrial land extent. Sir Hubert was fully informed of the unknown and endless land extending beyond the South Pole Point, where his expedition was directed.
Stop. Pause it. Just do yourself a favor and just read it for yourself. That's the only way you're going to really get it. These people in Hollywood, the most famous Australian explorer, scientists, everybody's there to get the details of his treatise. Physical continuity were illustrated with the miniature globe symbol that permitted the quadrants of the globe to be detached. So his whole presentation, here's your globe, now let's take it apart. and then they put all the stress or all the information or all the attention was laid on the feature of terrestrial land extent. So they only focus on the extent of how far the land actually went. This was their really only question, was how far does it go? It wasn't if there's more, it's how far does it go? Now, if this is going on in the 1800s, early 1900s, that's over 100 years ago, and you still think you spin on a ball of water? You think you got the drop? You want to argue against this, so you think you had the drop at 5 years old. You think when you were looking at the globe at 5 years old in kindergarten, that was the drop. Forget Daniel 12 and knowledge running to and fro. Forget all that great information we're supposed to be getting now. You had the drop at 5 years old in kindergarten. Because all they did was present you a round ball in a cartoon and Dora the Explorer and all these movies. All they had to do is keep giving you that image, and you assume that's the drop. You assume water curves into a ball and spins at 1,000 miles per hour. They're telling you here, all the stress was laid on the feature of terrestrial land extent. Sir Hubert was fully informed of the unknown and endless land extending beyond the South Pole point, where his expedition was directed. So they had to tell him, you're going this way. I want you to know that there is unknown and endless land towards those poles, towards the South Pole, and possibly the North.
Let me read that again.
Read it.
Sir Hubert was fully
Come on.
informed of the unknown and endless land extending beyond the South Pole point, where his expedition was directed.
This book claims to be non-fiction. That is fact, not fiction, but fact. Non-fiction equals fact. Giannini, I think he's an Italian banker. Let me keep going here. It became evident that the explorer was not risking his precious life at the forbidding South Pole merely for the purpose of measuring wind velocity and to gauge the directional activity of ice flows. Sir Hubert seemed wholeheartedly to share the conviction that the South Pole was by no means the southern end of the Earth. His statement afforded eloquent testimony that he was possessed of a powerful urge to go beyond all restrictions of theory in the pioneering spirit of a true explorer. Quote, before leaving England, I was advised that if I succeeded in penetrating beyond the South Pole point, I would be drawn to another planet by the suction of its movement, unquote. Sir Hubert was visibly impressed by the prospects presented, and he gave firm assurance that he would continue beyond the traditional mathematical end of the Earth when he said, quote, Giannini, if you will show me the route to the land you claim exists beyond the South Pole, I will continue on to it in spite of all obstacles, unquote. The International News Service at Los Angeles received copy of information designated the route requested by Sir Hubert, and history records his memorable discovery of land beyond the South Pole on December 12, 1928.
We can't be so down with truth, and then it slaps us upside the head, and we hate truth. We can't love the Creator, and then we're like, all right, well, so, what I'm saying? What do you mean? I'm not the bloodline of this or the bloodline of this. Choose the Creator. Let everybody else fight about bloodlines. No one can tell you your relationship with the Creator of all things, which means the energy, I'm saying. Choose the energy. If you agree that the Creator is energy, frequency, tuned to the highest frequency, and we are but, dimensions of that, parts of that. But we are very important to the Creator, like any shepherd in his flock. It's important, even if one of your sheep one member of your flock is lost, you stop the whole damn, you know what I'm saying, herd and say, yo, we got to find them. That's how important we are as a family. And I know we rock with the indigenous and we're trying to understand. We got to wake our people up. But everybody watching, we are in it, truly in this together. Because they're lying to you too. And if they treat us this way, they won't treat you the same way. We're in this together. We're in truth together. You know what I'm saying? So this is important. I'll drop this link again. Oh, this is a bonus. I almost forgot. You know, last time we were talking about, you know, the whole Mayan thing. I told you everything, everything comes together. Everything comes together. My bad, I got a lot of drop. Oh, shout out to Let Us Find the Truth, man. This king right here got a fantastic site, man. Hopefully it pops up quick. My internet's been running slizzo. Acting like a little Izzo. You already Nizzo. Alright. Come on, come on, come on. Think it's coming. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. My bad. Yeah. Alright, let me check this tab out right quick. Okay, boom. Come on. Load, baby, load. Here we go. Shout out to Let Us Find the Truth. Man, this king has put together a comprehensive study catalog, man, where, you know what I'm saying, he put up a gang of PDF books, wiki pages, you know, Brother Legs, Angels of Apocalypse, more. So he's really categorizing, you know what I'm saying, our experience here on YouTube and all the learning here. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, we're not all in the same town, so we depend on these type of platforms now, even though we know who runs them, but still we're unafraid because, you know what I'm saying, we rock with freedom. You know what I'm saying? Just for the opportunity to be free. And so we'll use whatever we can use, man, to accomplish that. But yeah, shout out to Let Us Find the Truth, man. This king got it all squared away, man. This site is amazing. Kings to you, brother. You know what I'm saying? With this message, you gotta love it. Again, when I say unto the wicked that thou shalt surely die, if you turn from the sin and do that which is lawful and right. You know, I'm sure they break it down. If the wicked restore the pledge, give again that he had robbed, walk in the statutes of life without committing iniquity, he shall surely live, he shall not die. None of his sins that he hath committed shall be mentioned unto him. He hath done that which is lawful and right, he shall surely live. You know what I'm saying? You know, you continue it, man, but this is beautiful, my brother. Beautiful. And I love, you know what I'm saying, how you keep it just real thorough. You click on this section right here. It's PDF, and you can see all this. Look at this work. I bet I got pop-ups like a mug on my end. You know what I mean? Alright. Well, yeah, scroll through it quickly. Alright. Yeah, man. Look at this. It's the book we was just dropping. It's another book I need to cop. So I don't even got to really do that. I can just come download it. This is the drop. You know what I mean? He got so much drop, man. My goodness. My goodness. Babylon 10 books too. Some of these I never heard of, man. So, hey, I love it. Shout out to you, King. Here's your bonus. Now, we were spitting about, you know, could do a set. We're spitting about the Mayan and the Chaquiqual, and we had read how the Mayans, you know what I'm saying, referred to who we believe is the Moshe particular character in the story, you know, with the staff, and the Mayans had their own story of this staff, this man putting the staff down, and they called him Balaam Keats. And we're like, why is he calling him Balaam Keats? You know what I'm saying? Is it, you see it right there, but this is actually in the Mormon rendition of it. Now, the Mormons pretty much took the whole quiche, you know what I'm saying, story, the whole indigenous story of their crossing and their migration and their creator and all this kind of stuff like that, and they kind of put it in their own book. That's why I've been telling people, like, the Mormons didn't come over here naming things biblical names. They took the stories from the indigenous people of the Creator and where everything is. And shout out to, you know what I'm saying, one of our folks in the comments, you know what I'm saying, saying that Aslan also meant, you know what I'm saying, like lofty, or I think they meant God or something like that, godly or something like that. So, Aslan is you got to research that name Aslan, but that was Utah. And yeah, it just connects because we're going to go to this Balaam Keats. I'm getting back to the flat drop, don't worry. So that's written as well in, I believe, the Book of Mormon, but definitely in the Quiche stories, saying that were indigenous to the Mayan and the Aztec. And this is very interesting, you know what I'm saying, because this breaks down not just Adam being created, but, various versions of them creating, trying to create before that, different people, and then finally getting to gods in council, in the darkness, at night, the desolate universe, do they commune together? Of what shall we make men? And the Creator and the former made 4 perfect men, and wholly of yellow and white maize was their flesh composed. So this is when we're getting into other stuff. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? This is what they're coming out of it. Yellow and white maize. I don't know what that is. I know they're not trying to say they're making white people. And maybe they are. So that's why I said, you can take all this stuff with a grain of salt. But we're looking into this stuff for the babies. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to find the drop in this stuff. And so when I'm trying to find out, what are they referring to as Balaam Keats? Are they referring to some type of demonic thing? Like we hear Baal, we run away from it. But I think some of these titles were imposed later. I know this Moses character who has his staff and, is not calling himself that. But we're going to get into a couple of little things that, could refer to that. So these were the names of the 4 men that were made. The first was Balaam Keats. All right, it's the same one that had the staff, and the Mayans and Aztecs, opened the waters, and they crossed over, and all that kind of stuff, and that's who they were following with the staff. Of the second, Balaam Agab. Of the third, Mahuta. Of the fourth, Iki, Balaam. And they had 4, neither father nor mother, neither were they created ordinary agents in the work of creation, but in their coming into existence was a miracle extraordinary wrought by the specific intervention of him who is preeminently the Creator. So you see gods, but they're just talking about the council of gods, and they did rock with a single, Creator. So here's where we do link up and say, yeah, when they say they're sons of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who else was just rocking singularity? The Creator. You know what I'm saying? So that's a little bit of the Balaam Keats. It's mentioned here. He's mentioned as kind of being like an Adam created figure. So we don't know. We got the Moses. That's all we know. That's all we've been given up to this point. We're putting this together, but for the Balaam Keats at least, we can at least see it again here as the being created. You know what I'm saying? So still looking into it, but I think that was very interesting. And getting back to the flat drop and that whole Baal or Baal thing, which connects back to the flat. This is going to be crazy. This is in a book called Historical, see it right there, Historical Origins Comprising the Chaldean and Hebrew, I believe it says Chinese and Hindus, Robert Shaw. Interesting. Again, there's a lot of crazy work in here, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not telling you X, Y, and Z, but I'm also not going to hide nothing from you. I want you to help me put this together. And if you have any input, again, I try to get back all the time, man. So you already know I'm pretty good with that. I'll try to continue to be as things pick up. So we got Phoenician, Hebrew, name El. Okay, found, don't know that word, in the book of Genesis. The full primitive form of El would be Gadha, equivalent to El Gaith, or God or good. And that's when you get into the, you know what I'm saying, without the vowels, you just drop all the vowels, and that's where they're getting God from. And this is stuff that, I don't necessarily, I don't rock with all the stuff that I'm just reading it to you. I'm just going to give it to you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to make this a whole thing about whether this is this or that. That's why I don't call God God, you know, because I don't know where they're getting that from, and it seems like they might be getting it back to a Baal origin or a Zeus origin or some other hijack. But I am trying to understand what they are getting into when it comes to this ball, okay? So I'll finish reading it, but again, it ain't nothing I'm really rocking with. I'm just trying to pull the information together with you. All right, so Gaal, form of El would be Gadal, all right, equivalent to El Gaeth, the God or the good, all right. And it says El is the child in the word Chaldeans. Okay, so I don't know. So child is saying is El Ha. In the word Chaldea, which sometimes has the form of Baal, Bel, or Baal. So now they're saying that primitively Baal, Bel, or Bel was used interchangeably with El. As we know, El isn't just like some super holy name per se. I mean, the way they started using it was kind of like a common name, you know what I'm saying? If anything had to do with something being high or spiritual or angelic, they would put that on there. So initially, I'm saying it is, you know, it comes from the source of the origin, but what do they use it later? So again, initially this might come from a source of origin, and then it was used, you know what I'm saying, to only depict one side, you know, or evil or these fallen entities. You know, was it initially used, you know, in more of a, you know, straight ahead version, should I say? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I'm asking you. You know what I'm saying? Is that? Has anybody looked into this book, Historical Origins? Again, we are suffering. We're trying to put it together. And our word ball. Here's where we get to the flat drop. I told you we're gonna end strong. All right. In our word ball. Let me center this. In our word ball, it conveys the idea of roundness, right? So you hear ball, you think round. But does ball mean sphere, like a sphere, or does it just mean round? You know what I'm saying? Kind of like Isaiah 40, you know what I'm saying, 22. A lot of, you know what I'm saying, cats go right there. Look, you know, it says it sits on a circle. You know, check out that scripture, Isaiah 40:22. You know, where it says, you know, that the earth, you know, is a circle, and people take that and say, oh, look, it's a round ball. It says circle, round ball. And then you go to Isaiah 20:18.